Hello and welcome to another insightful episode of Build and Thrive Thunder Bay. I'm Robert Downing, your host for today's discussion. We have a very interesting topic lined up for you about the role of intuition in business decision-making, especially within small to medium-sized enterprises. And joining us today is none other than Bruno Auger, an expert in this field with extensive experience in innovative marketing strategies. Bruno, we're thrilled to have you here. To kick us off, why don't we start by talking about what intuition means for business owners?
Thank you, Robert. It's great to be here. Intuition in business, often referred to as gut instinct, is essentially our subconscious mind's way of quickly assessing a situation based on personal experiences and stored knowledge, and then providing us with a feeling about what we should do next. Many dismiss it as something whimsical or unreliable, but it can actually serve as a powerful data point, not to replace analytical insights, but to complement them for a more holistic decision-making process.
That's a fascinating perspective, Bruno. It's intriguing to think of intuition as a part of decision-making rather than a total opposite of logic. How important do you think it is for business owners to recognize the value of this sixth sense in their daily operations?
I believe it's essential. Intuition allows business owners to navigate uncertainties and react swiftly to unforeseen changes, which are frequent in dynamic business environments, especially today. Every business decision involves some level of uncertainty, and while data analysis provides a clear picture and probable outcomes, intuition can often guide us toward novel ideas or solutions that might not be evident initially.
That's a very compelling argument for trusting one's gut. It also makes me wonder about the balance between gut feelings and analytical data. How can business owners ensure they're balancing intuition with hard data?
Striking the right balance requires discipline and practice. Business owners should start by making informed decisions that are grounded in data. However, they must also be open to questioning if something doesn't feel right. This involves a level of self-awareness and reflection, ensuring that there's room to consider new possibilities inspired by intuition, especially if the data-filled picture seems incomplete. Scheduled reflection periods can help, where you review past decisions and assess whether or not intuition played a beneficial role. Learning from those outcomes can fine-tune this skill over time.
It sounds like you're advocating for a sort of mindful business practice, where owners become more conscious of how they integrate the two. I'd love to dive into some practical strategies for this. What can business owners do to better harness and learn to trust their intuition?
Certainly, one effective strategy is to start by acknowledging the instances when intuition has positively influenced past decisions. Journaling can be a powerful tool in this regard. Write down decisions, the reasoning behind them, and reflect on the outcomes. Over time, you will identify patterns and gain insight into when your intuition tends to be most accurate. Another strategy is to simulate decisions during a low-stakes situation by consciously leaning into instinctive responses and analyzing later how they worked in practice. In high-stakes situations, testing your gut feeling against existing data can validate its reliability.
Journaling and low-stakes simulations both sound like excellent methods to bring intuition into the fold without risking everything on a feeling. Have you seen real-life examples where business owners effectively utilize these strategies for remarkable outcomes?
Yes, absolutely. I recall a small retail business owner who maintained a sales ledger as well as a decision journal. She noticed that combining structured promotional strategies with her instinctive sense of timing around product launches consistently led to higher sales. By reflecting in her journal, she improved at recognizing patterns in customer behavior that data alone didn't reveal. Another case was an online entrepreneur who trusted his instinct regarding his customer base's interest in a completely new product category. Despite no initial market data, he piloted a small range of products and collected real-time customer feedback. It led to a lucrative branch of his business.
Those are excellent examples of leveraging intuition effectively alongside data. It highlights just how impactful it can be for growth. Along those lines, do you have any actionable tips for integrating intuition into marketing strategies specifically?
Definitely. One of the best ways to incorporate intuition into marketing is through content creation. If you feel strongly about a particular theme or story that resonates with your brand, but aren't sure if it fits standard metrics or patterns, it's often worthwhile to test it on a smaller scale. Trusting in your unique vision can carve a niche that larger competitors are unlikely to see. Also, building more personal relationships with customers to better understand feedback can spur intuitive insights. This means actively listening to what isn't being said and adapting strategies to meet unstated needs.
So essentially, intuition can become central to identifying niche opportunities that aren't obvious but are potentially very rewarding. You've talked about the importance of confidence in decision-making for small to medium business owners. How does confidence play into the effectiveness of both data and intuition in business scenarios?
Confidence is truly the backbone of integrating intuition with data. When business owners are confident, they are more likely to take calculated risks and trust in their judgment, whether based on numbers or instinct. This doesn't mean overconfidence, which can blind them to important data, but rather a measured self-assurance that all knowledge and feelings have been considered. Confidence also makes decision makers more resilient to setbacks. Understanding that not every outcome will be perfect is part of growth, and confidence inspires the perseverance to continue making informed choices.
That's a very powerful point. Confidence seems to enable the trial and error process that can refine both intuition and analytical capabilities. Looking forward, how can business owners foster a more holistic approach to growth by combining logic and intuition?
To develop a holistic approach, owners should engage in continued learning and skill development, both analytical and emotional. This could involve formal training in data analytics as well as workshops on emotional intelligence. Engaging with diverse perspectives and collaborating with mentors or peer groups also helps broaden one's understanding beyond the individual perspective, marrying intuition with robust strategies for success. Additionally, creating a culture that values both innovation and tradition can foster an environment where both intuitive and data-driven insights can thrive.
Creating a balanced business culture sounds like a sustainable way to thrive. For small to medium business owners, innovation often feels risky. How can they encourage themselves and their teams to trust themselves more and remain competitive in an ever-evolving market?
Encouraging trust within yourself and your team starts with creating a safe space for experimentation where failure isn't punished but viewed as a learning opportunity. Empowerment should extend to everyone within the business, encouraging ownership over projects and decision-making processes. Celebrating small intuitive successes during reviews can boost morale and reinforce trust. Setting clear goals and deconstructing decisions into smaller, manageable steps can also prevent being overwhelmed by the risks associated with innovation, enabling both individuals and teams to feel more confident in intuitive experimentation.
That's incredibly valuable advice. Recognizing effort and intuition as part of a learning path rather than just a successful outcome creates a positive loop. As we wrap up today's podcast, do you have any final thoughts or encouragement for our listeners about integrating intuition into their business practices?
Certainly. My final piece of advice would be to embrace intuition not as a competitor to analytical insight, but as an ally. In such a fast-paced environment, new challenges and opportunities can arise without warning, and intuition can often bring us insights that data alone cannot provide. Trust yourself and the breadth of your experiences. They're far deeper than daily business analytics might show. With practice and patience, trusting your gut can transform into a structured strength that offers a unique competitive edge.
Thank you, Bruno, for sharing your expertise and insights. Our listeners surely have a lot to take away from this discussion. Integrating intuition with analytical strategies can reshape how we view business growth, and emphasizing how one complements the other is enlightening. Thank you for joining us and providing so much to think about. To our audience, thank you for tuning into this episode of Build and Thrive Thunder Bay. We hope today's conversation inspires you to tune into both your skills and your gut feelings next time you face a business decision. Join us next week for another episode tailored to help you innovate and expand in today's market. Until then, keep building and thriving.